I am going to share the true history in regards to where apes, the Cro-Magnon man, as well as the Neanderthal truly came from. I'm also going to give finally the true history around the Anunnaki and what they created by mixing their genetics with an ape-like species here on Earth. They are not the creators of mankind, and I will be sharing that in this history below. There's been a lot of talk around this, and people think that their ancestors lead back to the Anunnaki creating the humans. But if you listen to the rest of my video, you will have the true version of our history, and one you should definitely look into. Back 155,000 years ago, or more, the Anunnaki were trying to create a slave race, so that they could have that race do the work that they wanted done. The biggest misconception is that people think the human being, or the Homosapien, came from the Anunnaki, as a result of them genetically bioengineering a Homosapien primate, or Homosapien human, and then that turning into what we are today. But this is not true. You will find typically that narratives which are influenced by the deep state, or those who have an agenda to hide the truth, will try to steer you away from your own human divinity. The Anunnaki created the Neanderthal, the Cro-Magnon 1, Cro-Magnon 2, Cro-Magnon 3, and the Cro-Magnon 4. These beings became known as the Leviathan races. These are the races that they tried to use for work and slave labor, as well as created them to be as slaves. I did a video called Solar Evolution, explaining how our sun manages the evolution on this planet through photonic light waves that it emits, which triggers and initiates changes to the actual physical form of humans, animals, and plants. When this is understood, we did not evolve the way that Darwin has explained it, or even how it might logically make sense the way we are taught in schools, how there are slow changes within a species as it evolves or grows. This is not true, and we also have no proof of this. It just seems to be the logical understanding of it when one doesn't know the truth. The actual change of the physical biological body of a human, animal, or plant form is manipulated by the light radiation waves, or light waves emitted by our sun. When our sun emits gamma waves through solar flares, CMEs, or solar storms, it can emit gamma waves, which can completely transform a lizard embryo to a salamander embryo, thus where originally you would have the eggs of a lizard. After being subjected to gamma wave light radiation, what will end up hatching would be a salamander. And this is an example, as I mentioned in my other video, of how physical transformation takes place with the physical biological form in regards to evolution. It may not always be in this format, as well as considering different light waves and photons affect the plant life differently than it affects human biology. But this is an example, and a proven one, of how certain light radiation light waves can affect the physical form of a living being. So depending on the need, depending on the seasons, depending on the cycles and cosmic cycles that the sun goes through itself, it will have moments in time where it will emit what's needed for the evolution of all things on our planet to take place. And it appears to me that this is something that's much more intelligent forming than one would think it to just be an intrinsic part of nature, but that's just my opinion. With that being said, we did not evolve from primates. If that were true in the way even Darwin explains it, those primates would no longer be around after the human evolved from them, if evolution was handled like that. This is part of the narration of the deep state, and those who have an agenda to keep the truth of what humans are, and who humans are, in regards to our inherent divinity. It's an attempt to not let us know ourselves, so that we can't reconnect with our true aspect, or self, which is a divine angelic being. This has only recently been brought to the public, and I got a big portion of this from David Wilcock's YouTube video, where he goes into explaining the emissions from the sun playing a role and effect on the physical form and evolution of animals and plants. With my own research, I obviously attributed this to humans as well, and am speaking to that which I have studied as well. So I've always had what I felt was the real history of our planet, and I will share that reference in the description. But along with my lifelong research and studies, and the knowledge from a few books, I was able to connect the puzzle pieces, because when you can understand that the evolution is managed by our sun, it by no means is the way that we have been led to think evolution takes place. So a big piece to this puzzle that I will be adding is the history of these lower forms or lesser intelligent forms of humans that people think we evolved from, which we didn't. In these forms are the Cro-Magnon and the Neanderthal. Now today, a lot of us have some of this DNA mixed with ours. But I just want to be clear, these are the primates or forms of Cro-Magnon or Neanderthal that the Anunnaki created by genetically splicing and messing with the DNA of an ape-like primate that was on the Earth when they initially came here and messed with the DNA of that being. There were already divine angelic humans on the planet that came from their original 12 tribes that were sent here to seed the human race and lineage. So I just want to be clear in showing you that this is what was created by the Anunnaki. It's interesting in fact to know that Cro-Magnon man and the Neanderthal were created after humans were created. If you look at some of my other videos in terms of our ancient history, we are a very old ancient divine race and have been around for 560 million years or more. We are an angelic divine being and always have been, and everything around us has always wanted to get you to not remember or connect with that truth about yourself. But soon you will either already know this or will come to know this as things are changing very much on our planet these days. The Anunnaki created these other primate-type beings who are somewhat lesser evolved than the human being, and they in fact were called the Leviathan races. And after creating these primates and lesser evolved primate beings, there were many things that were done to try to mess with the DNA and genetic lineage of the angelic human being. More of this on my next video, to be continued. The human Atlantean nation became progressively overrun with a race called the Anu-Melchizedek Leviathans. The many competing Anunnaki, Draconian and reptilian family lines of the Anu-Melchizedek Leviathan races were a product of progressive fallen angelic raiding of an Emerald Covenant hybridization program that began in 155,000 BC. The Founders Emerald Covenant hybridization program was intended to assist the Anunnaki and Draconian or reptilian races that had joined the Emerald Covenant to regenerate their DNA templates to reclaim the potentialities of ascension. Genetic engineering was used to combine portions of the angelic human DNA template with that of a composite Anunnaki Draconian reptilian genetic strain, using the Anunnaki slave primate named Lulcus Neanderthal DNA, upgrading the Neanderthal first to the Luhari Cro-Magnon 1, then to the Iluli Levi Cro-Magnon 2, Iluli Judah Cro-Magnon 3, and Iluli Nephi Cro-Magnon 4. After thousands of years of evolution on Earth and 5 genetic upgrades, the Iluli Levi Cro-Magnon received its final upgrade to the Homosapiens 1 Anu-Melchizedek. The Anu-Melchizedek race, housing incarnations of non-human angelic souls on Emerald Covenant redemption contracts, resembled the angelic human 12 tribe races because 5 of 12 human DNA strand templates were genetically engineered into bonding with the hybrid DNA. From the Iluli Levi stage, the hybrid races could, but were not intended to naturally procreate with the human race, due to the compatibility of the lower DNA strand templates between hybrids and humans. This made the hybrid races, especially the most evolved Anu-Melchizedeks, a prime target for fallen angelic races that desired to incarnate their presence on Earth in quest of halls of Amenti dominion. By the later Atlantean period of 10,500 BC, the number of fallen angelic Anu-Melchizedek Leviathan of Iluli Levi hybrid family lines, born a fallen angelic raiding of the hybridization program, exceeded those of the Emerald Covenant human and Magi Indigo races. Throughout much of pre-ancient history, Earth's Stargate system remained open, and interstellar commerce was commonplace. And this is where the Neanderthal, the Cro-Magnon man, came from. We did not evolve from them, even though there were times there was mixed breeding between all of them. I will share more of this history soon in my next video. To be continued.